Hello everyone, it's me, Doomlink, and welcome back to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. We've actually just been joined by Hossein in the chat, so sort of an introduction for him as well. I am picking up the VOD in the middle of the recording previously because I had to obviously deal with a few technical difficulties, which is something that has plagued pretty much all of my 4 Ultimate recordings prior to this point. And that's the reason why I don't record it very frequently, but I am happy to report that that is about to change because I have finally figured out the formula to recording this game smoothly. I'm not going to go into details because it's lengthy and uninteresting, but I figured it out, and what that essentially entails is a whole lot of 4 Ultimate going forward. You're going to see more of it, and if that's what you want, you better be ready for it. Did I switch to the top screen? I did not. I'm sure I'm being reminded of that in the chat by Peaberry. I am not. But it's alright, I figured it out, all on my own because I'm a big boy. That's one of the things that I'm going to struggle with, at least initially when it comes to recording this game. There is a little bit of a different setup because I have 2 screens that I'm recording. When it comes to hunting online, well, I should say when it comes to being in a hunt, I don't actually need the bottom screen to be visible. It's more immersive to have just the top screen visible, but it's also not necessary to have the bottom one visible, so going back and forth between showing you the bottom one and not showing you the bottom one is going to have to be something that I get used to as part of the recording process. So, we'll see how things go. I will be likely to make that mistake unless I am reminded in the chat to fix that mistake. It's not that I'm expecting to fail, it's just that I'm being realistic and letting you all know that anything's possible, I suppose. Just going to lower my own playback there. I'm just settling for whatever I can get away with right now. Just getting back into the swing of things. I have not played 4 Ultimate frequently for a very long time. As I said, that is soon to change, but the purpose of me mentioning that is that I'm probably going to play a little strangely for the first few hunts while I get back into the groove. Now, Shagadu Magala, it is worth mentioning, is actually noticeably more difficult in this game. The version that we're fighting right now is the standard version. This is, while marked as an advanced quest, the standard Shagadu Magala in G rank that you fight. In my opinion, he is more difficult. He deals more damage and has more health. Either that, or the hunters are just so much stronger in Generations Ultimate that it feels like he's considerably weaker in that game. But it has to be mentioned that a lot of the weapons in this game are actually balanced for the guild quests that effectively exist beyond the standard G-rank monsters in terms of difficulties, so yeah, I don't really understand how it could simply be the effectiveness of the hunters that would create that difference, but anyway. The overall point is that this feels like a much more substantial hunt. It feels like a better expression of what Shagadu Magala is as an Elder Dragon. Because if you're dealing with an Elder Dragon, it should A, actually feel like a significant hunt, not something that's over in a matter of 3 to 5 minutes with a group of 4. And it should also feel like there is some kind of intimidation factor. You know, you have to feel like you're in danger, or at the very least, if you're not properly focused or adequately focused on the hunt, you are going to be in danger. So, what I'm trying to get across is that there is that sort of feeling in this game, but I don't get any of that in Generations Ultimate. I felt it immediately when I fought him for the first time in this game after a long time not having fought him. Oh my god, I really don't like these random explosions all over the place. Against, you know, my own advice in my head as we speak, I am attacking when I really should be healing, but I wanted to take that opportunity. I can play with 4 players, there's no reason why I can't, it's just that generally there is more instability when it comes to 4 players in the room. In terms of game performance, it's still fine for me, which is good. That's part of me having figured out the ideal formula, as I call it, for being able to record this game smoothly, but more instability. There are 2 reasons why. It's general connectivity issues relating to the emulator, and second of all, a lot of the people who are playing right now, and this is something that I'm going to get into more deeply, are people who have what I would describe to be an unstable setup with Citra, and that's because they're using mobile devices. They are using mobile phones to play the goddamn game, which always results in more instability, and I'm fucking sick of it personally, but I don't have much of a choice in this situation. If I want to be able to play with people while playing this game, I'm going to have to play with phone users, because I can fucking tell you right now, the PC-only community did nothing to keep this game alive. They did nothing. I tried my utmost, and it just didn't work. You know, I would always struggle to find people to play with, and it was a mixture of just an infrequency of play on those people's account, but also there was a difference, a pretty remarkable difference in the time that they would play and the time that I would play. So that's because they were on the other side of the world, usually in Europe, and I would very rarely be able to play with them. I'm happy to say that the circumstance has largely changed now, because it is actually possible to emulate this game on a phone smoothly. So I'm sure really basic devices can't, but what would be considered to be a decent gaming phone in the countries where people have phones instead of computers, that might sound strange to some of you, but that's actually how things are in Southeast Asia, for example. It is playable. This game is playable on those devices with the latest mobile Citra builds. In some cases not without numerous disconnects, but in terms of the game being able to actually run, yeah, at 30 FPS at least. Oh, Hossein was going to try and join, actually. The reality is that we did actually get a fourth hunter returning. It was someone who disconnected previously and just made it back into the room. So under those circumstances, I wouldn't seek to have them leave so that you could join. Not that you were asking for that. But yeah, this is a person who originally came from this room. It's worth mentioning that I am not warm whatsoever to guild quests. I will do them, but I will carp if it's level 140 or something along those lines. I will be seriously fucking pissed off. Alright. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I don't think it's updated at all, is that right? Or maybe it's... yeah, right. It looked like that because it hadn't actually updated. It seems that Jaska, who in-game is... Aska? Yeah, probably. That would make sense, wouldn't it? This person also needs Shaguru Magala, so... Who's gonna take the quest? Asks Uncle Sam. Could this guy, like, stop living at 1,000,000 miles an hour and let me, you know, scratch my armpits and fart? I don't know why I said that. My point is, you know, I want to, you know, be able to breathe and blink and, you know, have a moment to think before this guy's like, Who's gonna post? Why is... Just... Christ almighty, just relax. Anyway. If I sound mildly frustrated, it's because I've basically seen the same impatience. I mean, look at these guys. They are fucking ready to go. Like, instantly ready to go. The same impatience that I've seen in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate and other Monster Hunter games has been perfectly replicated here in this community. So, when I say that you can expect to experience and witness the same impatience in every single version of Monster Hunter in the year of 2023, this is what I mean. It's frustrating to be proven correct, so I will still be annoyed about it even though I predicted that. But yeah, these people are fucking really eager. They are eager for instant hunts. And if you're not immediately ready to go, you're going to see an antsy hunter. You're going to see someone who is just literally upset that you're not immediately ready to go. I don't know why I took poison coatings. I do know why. It's because I didn't intend to take them. I took them accidentally. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Well, I did get a let's do this. I actually got a let's do this. You may have actually seen it in the chat history. There was, hand on heart, a let's do this. Actually, it would have been in-game. There was one in-game. So, it's not actually there anymore because we've since changed hubs. But, and that's because sometimes in-game you do get a little bit of hub instability as well, connection-wise. But yeah, seriously. Huge impatience. Huge impatience. So, it is annoying, and I don't like it. That's what I can tell you. I'm trying to get in position for the head here. Bit too far away. No, it was close enough to get the hit off, but it's probably not in the sweet spot of Greatsword, I suppose. What the hell was that? I stood back doing nothing because I was anticipating a mount, but it never happened. I don't know why. Game performance has gone down a little bit, so I'm going to have to actually match that with a lowering of the in-game resolution. Just slightly. It probably won't be immediately noticeable to you as you watch, but basically, you know, it becomes necessary when certain areas are a little bit too demanding on my system. So, why has it become worse after I lower the frame rate? Seriously, the instability of this emulator makes me sick. It's literally garbage. I'm sorry, like, maybe it's not the emulator, maybe it's the game, I don't know. It's just been designed by, I don't know. All I can tell you is that I was having 0 performance issues hunting with 4 people in the desert. But in this location, it's different. Great. I'll just ignore it. I don't think it's game-breakingly bad or anything like that. I was getting some pretty bad performance in Monster Hunter DOS, so what I'll do is I'll just lower the volume of the game a bit, so that it's a little bit less noticeable. Crazy as that might sound. And again, sorry if I'm distracted by, you know, the recording process, and then consequently not hunting. It's annoying, but there will be moments in time where it happens. What the fuck? I went in for a rolling slap, and then it just, you know, got cancelled out by some impact from, I think it was actually the monster, not one of my teammates. Yes, welcome to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I'm actually going to shield that. Oh. Shit. There we are. Good head opportunity. I apologize for using the same loadout twice. It's just that I didn't feel like I was at liberty to change my loadout. There was a little bit too much antsy interaction between myself and the other members of the team, so, you know, impatience, as I have described it previously. Ow. I'm diving because that's really the only safe thing that I can do right now. Oh, for goodness sake. Obviously misjudged the direction those explosions were going in. But yes, as I described, this hunt is generally more difficult than it was in Generations Ultimate, but I'm quite comfortable to admit that if it looks more difficult this time around, it's because I'm playing like shit, just to make that real clear. I'm a bit distracted at the moment. What I'll tell you is that there is a reason why I never record this game. And hopefully some of that is fucking apparent to those of you who have been watching the live stream since it started. And not just, you know, the VOD. Well, I think I succeeded in rolling through the first attack, but then it just immediately stopped being a good idea to roll. Okay. Just take it and deal with it. Yeah, main objective complete. Great time to die, I guess. That should mean that I'll get an ending screen with me lying on the ground, which is always fun to watch, I guess. Or fun to see. We did cut the tail, which is good. I suppose that was a very quick hunt, wasn't it? At the very least, it did challenge me a decent amount. But on this occasion, I think it's because I was playing like shit. I'm happy to concede that. One thing that you will see much more often in this game, and there's probably two reasons why. The first reason, well, okay, let me explain what I'm talking about. The use of Seregio's weapons is much more common in this game, but let me tell you that they are still perfectly effective in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. It's just the reason why they are not used in that game is because they fly under the radar. They're not really celebrated in that community, and for the reason that they're not celebrated in the community, they are not therefore used in the community. People don't see them around, and so they don't think to use them themselves, and because they never see them around, it's a strange little cycle where, because they're not used, people don't see them, and then therefore they don't think to use it themselves. And also they assume that because no one else uses them, they're not actually very good, but they're fine, there's nothing wrong with them. I think it all started with Seregios being unique to 4-on-4 Ultimate, and so people were generally more interested in his loadouts, or the weapons that he can forge, or that you can forge using his materials. And they had an interesting little design to them. It was the fact that you can basically roll and then very slightly sharpen your weapon each time you roll. And in the case of the bowgun, you can actually load one shot each time you roll, which was very fun in terms of using the weapon. So, there you go. The point that I'm trying to make is that if there were a reason why the 4 Ultimate community was using those weapons more, it would have been because they were new and interesting. And then that novelty, I suppose, wore off in Generations Ultimate, and then consequently the community didn't use it. And then I guess they just flew under the radar at that point. You will see more Seregio's weapons being used, because it's a trend. And that's about it, really. I don't know if we're going to continue with Shagaru Magala. I would personally prefer not to, because I no longer need him. What I needed Shagaru Magala materials for, in this case a mantle, I don't know why I went there, I actually needed it for a charge blade. The connection was lost. Well, there you go. It's my turn to disconnect. We'll rehub. We'll figure out who will actually make the hub. There's no real point in all of us making a hub. Uncle Sam's going to make it. In other words, the person named, I don't know, don't remember the name now. Something similar to Samuel was the name. Someone who seems to have a... no, don't create the room. We've just gone over this point. It's not helpful to have us all create a room. Sam Soel, okay. Because Samuel's a bit too ordinary, I suppose. Now, let's go to Valhalla. I will show both screens so that you can actually see how I'm going from one place to another. I'm doing it in this... oh great, the person who made the room just disconnected. Because you can see there's no red player here. The rent player is... fuck me sideways. The network instability of For Ultimate is on display. I'll just make sure that I'm still in the room, the Citra room. I'll make the hall this time, I said. Let's see if they can coordinate themselves after I have asserted the fact that I'm going to make the room. I'm assuming the person with the most stable connection should be the one to make the room. And I don't know if that's me, but I do have a stable connection. That's the important point. Or at least I believe I do. Okay, so let's go and forge the weapon that I was using, or rather that I intend to use the Shaguru Magala mantle to make. It's actually a charge blade, because I need to make charge blades in this game. Like I told you, I barely used the charge blade when I was originally playing this game, so yeah, well, actually did I tell you that? No, I told the people who were watching before the VOD that that was the case. So here we go, the La Salut. Do they pronounce the T? Salut. They probably pronounce the T. It doesn't matter, I'm not French, that's the important thing. And don't take that the wrong way. This weapon looks beautiful, just look at the damn thing. I'm pleased to say that among the Impact Dragon charge blades, I deemed this one to be the best, or the most balanced anyway. The one that I wanted to forge, and it looks damn good, so... In this word, you don't pronounce it, apparently. But yeah. I've said it time and time again, but I'm not really happy with my weapon selection in this game, because I fell victim to the relic system, where I just sat back and said, well, I'm not going to actually take the time to make these weapons because I might get a better one through relic farming. I am now fixing that as we speak. It's been a long process. I've actually come a long way. All of these bows that I've forged have been forged since I moved over to PC from the 3DS. So, you know, I've been really hard at work, actually. So, there we go. We've got our latest charge blade. I don't know if I've got an elemental dragon charge blade. Looks like I don't. So this is actually my first fully upgraded dragon charge blade in this game, so that's good news. I've made the decision to use elemental and impact file charge blades. I've got two different armor sets for it. Let's have a look at those. This is the elemental charge blade loadout. A very good one, actually. Very happy with it. You can see that it's really gone as far as I can in the elemental direction. It makes use of elemental crit and element attack up, and I've got critical I +3 to complement elemental crit, and then it has damage skills beyond that, with the addition of blight proof. And then for impact, quite obviously, artillery, artillery, artillery. And latent power +2, and challenger +2. Yes, they do synergize at least a little bit, not perfectly, but they do synergize. I have seen moments where latent power will activate when challenger +2 is not in activation, so I don't want to hear people say that they cancel each other out. They fucking don't. Are they perfectly synergized? No, but who cares when you've got artillery god, challenger +2, and honed blade? Be quiet. Anyway, let me try to figure out what precisely is going on with these people. That build is quite outdated now, Hossein. It's no longer the ideal one. I mean, I was still using one of the really old Filkster builds. But, yeah, then I moved on to Valentin. Valentin is pretty good, but apparently the newest Citra Nightly builds, like the official Citra Nightly builds, are even better than Valentin. And I haven't used them yet. I'm still using Valentin, like 13.4.0 I think is the latest Valentin. And that one is pretty good, so I wouldn't recommend the Rasp build, but I suppose everyone's got a different experience as well, so I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel. I'm a bit on the fence. I suppose that the best advice I can give to anyone who's running the game... God, the fucking... I just noticed the resolution's not amazing. I mean, it's fine, but I can bump it up a little. Yeah, that's slightly more reasonable. We're only hunting with 3, so I shouldn't have any sort of issues. I'll play around if I must. Like if I'm having performance issues, I'll play around with it. I'm paintballing for no reason. It's helpful to see where the monster is when you're in the same area as the monster, but once the monster leaves, that paintball's useless. Despite the fact that Gormagala flies in confusing directions. Oh yes, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I'm really at a loss as to how. Okay, I wish I hadn't actually paintballed this guy, because now I've got this giant flashing, well, it's not flashing, but it's lit up. It's a big, bright, annoying yellow watermark on my fucking screen. It's ridiculous. I do not have a power shot, so the interesting thing about the power shot setup in this game is that it is either power shot or arc shot. Now, if you want to know which one's more effective or helpful to use, it's fucking power shot. But I also would generally advise against ruling out a bow just because it doesn't have power shot. I don't think that's fair. I think a bow without power shot is still okay. So, just... it would make me sad if a person ruled out a bow because it didn't have power shot. In this game. Later on, power shot just becomes standard functionality of the bow. In this game, it's a new concept. And it is pretty much in what you would call a skill slot, which can either be occupied by arc shot or by power shot, and it is linked to specific bows. And that's how that works. It's a 4 thing. 4U/4 ultimate. Oh, it looks like Decker made it in to the fucking hub. That's a good thing. Maybe he played around with things a little bit. I can say that he's gotten... and he's immediately left. That's the furthest he's gotten so far. He managed to actually get into the in-game room, but he lasted about 3 to 5 seconds, which is sad, but also not unexpected. He is trying valiantly. He desperately wants to play the game. I do feel sorry for him, but I'm not going to suffer and wait for him. He needs to go through that experience on his own. It's his fucking cross to bear. That was a good knockdown. Well, I don't know why it was still pointing up in that direction, because I did scope out and then reposition, and yet my bow was still aiming up. I don't know if that was a glitch or something that I simply do not understand. At this stage, I'm not entirely sure. Oh well, lost a few frames there of an opportunity, because we were standing there being affected by the roar while he went down. I do try to be cognizant of the fact that your teammates might actually not be resisting the roar. Like, you might just be getting the mount out as the roar goes out. But that's actually not helpful if your team are standing there stuck in one place. So, I tend to hold off a little bit just before the roar. But if it looks like I've got teammates who are resistant to roars, I won't bother, obviously. I suppose if you're at the end of your stamina, then that's a different story. Better to get it out under those circumstances than not get it out at all and just fail, because then that would be a waste of time. I do feel at home playing a game where I don't continue hitting the fucking monster while it's being mounted, because that's the natural order of things, really. That is what feels most comfortable and acceptable. That's the balanced approach. Don't just make it so that you can keep hitting the monster, dealing full damage, and then simultaneously helping to knock it down faster. Yeah, that might make more natural sense. That might make sense if you're focused on something like realism. But it's fucking Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Sorry, Monster Hunter Generations/Generations Ultimate. Those games are not realistic. They're not based on realism, so don't sit there and say, oh, well, it makes more sense. No, it doesn't. Not in a game design sense. It simply doesn't. So, I would encourage any person who is formulating an opinion on the mounting system to consider the abject failure when it comes to Capcom and their intention to balance it. What they did was they made it so that it was harder to get off a mount, but then they made mounts extremely effective in a weird way. I don't know, I feel like they made it extremely overpowered and then they nerfed it to hell. And then, I don't know, I suppose they did a good job of making it look imbalanced, but it doesn't actually trivialize the game. Does that make sense? So when I discuss the change that was made to mounting in that way, where it doesn't make sense in a balancing aspect. So when you focus on the concept of balancing a game, it doesn't make sense to, after having made it so that the hunters can't participate during the mount, otherwise they'll cause the mount to fail. And then obviously, you know, do you understand what I mean? I think I did a pretty poor job of explaining that. But anyway. I probably should have taken the abrasives. But I did not. So, despite it seeming like bad balancing, maybe that was just the best way to do it after they completely fucked it up the first time. So, yeah. I'm just a little bit sour that they made mounting so weak, I guess. Or made it so hard to get off mounts. Rare Gormagala. This guy just only wants to hunt Gormagala. I'm going to have to give him a little nudge and let him know that actually I'd like to hunt something as well. Admittedly, I am a very high hunter rank and have not at this stage given an indication that I want things, so I'm sure that he will understand if I say, hey, can I post something? He'll be like, oh, of course. So I don't need to silently brood over the fact that he's taking liberties, because I don't think he is. I think he's just, he sees that there's an opportunity and he's just going for it, so good on him. Especially under these circumstances, he's got a rare one, so he's going to post it, right? I won't go bow again. I will use something different. I will go with a lance this time. I don't think I have a fire lance, do I? Oh no, I do. Here we go. I don't have an awakened lance set yet. Oh, goodness gracious. Just had a bit of a an indigestion hiccup is what I'd call it. Maybe you could say indigestive hiccup. But I don't know if indigestive is a word. It sounds like it would work, but if it hasn't been accepted as a word, then maybe I won't use it. Now, this GX Crimson Fatalis set does not actually have any guard skills whatsoever, but I will use it with this Awakened Fire Lance. It's my good old friend, the Lost Babel. Remember this lance from Tri? It's in this game as well, and I use it. How could I resist? Also, this set looks really cool. Look at that. You can't argue that that's a damn cool looking set. So, can I also just say that the stability of hunting with 3 people is so much more favourable to me. You know, there is more instability in terms of connectivity when I'm hunting with 4 people, and on top of that, it runs more smoothly for me. So, really, 3 people is a win-win. It's the best case scenario. It's not too few people, it's also not too many. I'll have to do some live streams with Florin at some point. He can only hunt with 2 people. He instantly disconnects if a third person joins, which is unfortunate for him, but my 2-man hunts with him are really good, because he's a good player, so it always works out very well when we hunt together. We pretty much drop every monster in 5 to 10 minutes as a 2-piece, so it's enjoyable. When both players work well together in a cohesive fashion, it just creates an environment for both players to deal a lot of damage. There is an abundance of opportunities to get heavy hits off, and the whole flow of the hunt just works better. So, yeah, when you find a good partner, you start to see that. And Florin is one such example. So, I'll have to do some live streams with him as well. The problem with that, though, is that he's in a very different time zone to me. In fact, the problems that I've previously outlined with finding people to hunt with in Monster 4 Ultimate pretty much can perfectly be represented by Florin's time zone in relation to my own. So, there you are. I'm glad that my counters still work fine with Raws. I'm just not really expecting the counters to work very well with physical attacks. Probably not. Happy to be using a Fire Lance, though. I didn't have any other choice. I had to use this loadout with no guard skills. I will make an Awakened Lance set at some point. I'm absolutely ready to make all elements for all weapon types, and then do it all over again with Awakened stuff, because I love that. I love doing that. I love having that choice. And do you know what? If I get a relic weapon that happens to be better than something else that I use, I have that as an option available to me, and I will be able to use that for quests that really require it. You know, quests that really need that extra damage, like a level 140 guild quest, I'll have that relic and I'll be able to use it. But for just standard hunts, and that's probably how I'm going to approach it, for standard hunts that are not guild quest related, I mean, this might technically be a guild quest, but it's, in terms of difficulty, aligned with standard quests at this level, you know, I don't need to use the really good relic weapons. They're a bit overpowered anyway, and to be honest, maybe just separating my choice of weapon depending upon... Okay, so if I segment the decision, if I compartmentalize it and say, look, I'll use the strong relic weapons with the high-level guild quests, and only under those circumstances, maybe that way I'll be able to enjoy it a little more. It's weird, I mean, that sounds really obvious, but I've only really thought of it that way this time around. Like, as I speak to you now, that's pretty much an epiphany that I've just had. So, yeah, I'll try to think of it that way from now on. I hope we don't cut this tail too soon. It will cause this trap to be a bit of a waste. Fortunately, we didn't cut it immediately. But I'll tell you what, Usker hit me about as much as he hit the monster there. So, in fact, I would say the exact same number of hits that made contact with the monster also made contact with me. So, displeasing as that might have been, I am using a lance, so an allowance of some kind has to be made on that basis. Oh, that was very cool. While the tail is being swung, it is severed. Very cinematic. Very well done. I will heal up and then sharpen, that's important. I'm watching to see what you're doing, Mr. Gormagala. Oh yes. I do still have the top screen going now. I don't believe that I had ever enabled the bottom screen, so maybe I should really try to do it that way. If I'm going to forget to make a change, it should be from the top screen to both screens and not vice versa. That's a lot less damaging to the viewing experience in my opinion. That was a good SAED. As you can see, this weapon is still usable without lance-specific skills. But I suppose it depends on the monster, because monster-dependent, or rather depending on the monster, you will be more or less reliant upon the guard skills of your weapon. If I were fighting a Devil Joe without guard +2, I'd really know about it. And if I were hunting a Gravios without guard boost, I'd really know about it. Well, guard up, that is to say. But you can see, even that attack I was able to very cleanly counter without guard +2, so it's not totally unusable at all. Far from it. I say that, you know, almost as a realization because I don't have much experience using Lance without the guard skills, so because it just makes sense to use them in conjunction with Lance. But as I experience this here, like this hunt with this Lance, with no guard skills whatsoever, I can say, to be honest, it's okay. It's really quite okay. Even though it doesn't feel like I should be pursuing the monster. Oh, actually the tail was severed and I forgot to carve it, so I'm going to go back and carve that now. Not that I really need to. I mean, those guys can go in that direction if they want to. I know it looks like the monster should have gone in that direction, but I can assure them. Are you kidding me? He actually went that way this time? Oh, excuse me. It's a rare quest, so we do have a mining area. Well, the gathering area, I should say. I don't think there's going to be anything really worth... Well, heavenly crystals are helpful. But yeah. It's not quite the same as mining in a level 130 plus guild quest. In getting beshackled fragments or whatever the fuck. Beshackled weapons and armor. That's just one of the terms that I remember. I know that there's at least one other that's considered quite good for appraisal. I don't want venerable anything. It's fucking rarity 7. Meteor crystal. Get that venerable weapon out of here. And I certainly don't need adamant orbs. I am adamant that I do not require adamant orbs. Shut up. God, I got one... Am I correct in saying that I was able to mine that node literally once? Also, if you are in need of... What's it called? Oh, I can remember it. What's it called? Nectar. That's the word. If you're in need of nectar, that's where you get it. I'm not going to follow Hossein down there. I don't need to do that. Sounds like it's raining outside quite a lot. Yeah, it's a rainy old night out there. Oh, look at you limping, you poor thing. The item description on the venerable armor said, "Polish it now." Well, that's real nice of you to recommend, or even command of me, game, but I won't be doing it. Wow, it's like really raining a lot outside. I like that. It's, well, I don't like it that much because the weather has been quite hot today, so when you go from really hot weather to fucking thunderstorms, it's so humid, it's just gross. Sometimes that does... It is accompanied by a temperature drop on some occasions, but today's not one of those days. It's really hot and humid at the moment, and I don't like it. You know, there's a reason why I don't live in Southeast Asia. I mean, there might be a number of reasons why I wouldn't live in Southeast Asia, but definitely the main one would be the fucking weather. And I'm not going to list the other ones because that could be extremely culturally insensitive, but like seriously, why the fuck would anyone want to, you know, live a life in constantly hot and humid weather to the extent where you are constantly sweating? I mean, it's not so bad that I'm sweating a lot right now, and that's because it's not that hot. The humidity is very high. Because, I mean, fortunately it has cooled down a little bit. If it hadn't cooled down, then I'd be just drenched in sweat right now. And that's gross. Gormagala mantle. Well, I'm glad that I persevered in carving though. What I like about the rain at the moment is that it's not just rain, it's like the wind is causing the rain to lash against my premises. And in a very inconsistent fashion, it's like and then it just goes back to heavy rain and yeah, I like that, it's fun. Oh, did I not? Was that the mantle that I was struggling to replace something for? If I missed out on the mantle, I don't care. Someone watching now is screaming. If that was the mantle, and that's entirely possible, someone's screaming. But please, I will show you how many mantles I have and then you will stop screaming. I don't know how many it is that I have, but I can tell you that I've acquired a lot that I have not actually used because you don't really need Gormagala mantles in this game, to be honest. If you're going to make something Gormagala in this game, it's either going to be Chaotic Gore or Shaguru, and usually both of those things bypass Gormagala mantles. It's contrary scale for Chaotic, and, you know, Shaguru Magala mantle for Shaguru stuff. So there you go. Alrighty. I'm going to assume that I didn't get the mantle. Let's see how many mantles I have. Gorumagara. Gorumagara. I've only got 3. Well, still. It's better than 0. Sergio's lens. Oh yeah, I did say that in every single Monster Hunter game that I play, I have good luck with Tigrex mantles. Let's see how many Tigrex mantles I have in this game. How many guesses? How many guesses? Let's have a look and see what our kill results are for, well, not just kill results, but, you know, the sort of, the number of killed and captured for Gorm... So not Gormagala, not Seregios, Tigrex, Doomlink. What are we looking at? We have hunted Tigrex 56 times, and Brute Tigrex, Black Tigrex, whatever, 27 times. I think you can still get, okay, you can still get Tigrex mantles from Molten. I did take a screenshot where I got 2 Tigrex mantles from a Molten Tigrex recently on my server. Let's just see how many I've got. Let's just take the fucking plunge and enlighten ourselves. 13, that's a good number. Compared to 1 Gravios Pallium, well, 7 Brack Palliums is good, but I don't use them like I'm sure you can imagine. Xenogus Emerald 2. Gormagala Mantle 3, 4 Seregios Lenses, 5 Crooks. I think it's safe to say that I get a lot of Tigrex rares, okay? Let me guess. Oh, it's not Gormagala. It's technically Gormagala, but it's not the same one. So I'm glad that he's gone and posted something that's not literally the same quest 10 frickin' times in a row. Good on him. Yeah, 13. Tigrex and I have a special relationship. Alright. I'm going to do it now, before I forget. I'm doing it because I'm going to forget if I don't do it now. Of course, some of you guys might be willing to let me know, but just in case you're not in the mood, I suppose. Would Thunder be appropriate for Chaotic Gormagala? Because Thunder is the ideal element for Stygian, so I'm going to check to see how Chaotic Gormagala would feel about me using a... whatever it's called. It's not Storge and it's not fucking Gore either. I hope that he wouldn't like it. That's what I'm trying to get across. Where is it? Why would it be before Gormagalan? It has to be between Gore and before... Well, between Gore and Storge, so where is it? Is it... No, it's not Rarity 10. It couldn't be. It doesn't make sense. Because Chaotic Gormagala's... Maybe he doesn't have an armor set. It's possible. How am I supposed to know his weakness? Oh no, hold on, it's here. Nephilim. Why is it Nephilim? I'm asking because he's not a giant from biblical times, and he's also... It shouldn't be there. Why would it come before the Gormagala loadout? That's Alpha Team fuckwittery. Okay, so he is actually partially weak to Thunder. I'm going to use Thunder because I really want to use Thunder against Stygian, and I wanted to have some sort of assurance that Thunder wouldn't be ineffective against Chaotic Gormagala, and I have been given that assurance. It is at least a secondary weakness, possibly a tertiary weakness. It's better than it doing no damage, that's the point. Nephilim? I mean, I might not have my biblical stuff correct, but I thought the Nephilim were the giants of the Bible. I don't know. It could be right, though. Maybe I'm getting confused with a different word. It's possible. Oh, God, look who's just dropped into the chat. Look out. Yeah, get your crosses out, everyone. Okay. I'm going to use what? How about a weapon that I haven't used so far? How about a hammer? Does hammer sound like fun? No. Not to me, actually. Unfair as that might sound. I've just tantalized you with the possibility that I might actually use the hammer. But I've decided not to. I'm going to use the dual blades instead. Thunder dual blades. I must have some. Oh, I was in the process of making some. Rajang dual blades. I bet I don't have any. Yeah, look. These are not fully upgraded. Shit. I need 2 ghoulish gold Gorers to fully upgrade those, and I regret to say that I don't have those ghoulish gold Gorers, as they are so extravagantly named. I don't want to use those. I shouldn't have actually put any materials into these stupid dual blades. They were just a novelty. I thought they would be kind of cool to have dual blades with 2 different elements, because in Portable Third I didn't really bother with them very much. In this game, this was the first game that I tried making dual blades with 2 different elements, and element plus status, etc. I regret it in hindsight. You can see that I used to indulge in that sort of behavior. Alright, how about Sword and Shield then? Do I have... Yeah, I'll use this loadout with it. Sword and Shield. Actually, I have an even better idea. Let's use White Fatalis. I don't know why, I'm just in a White Fatalis sort of mood in terms of armor sets. Alright. Thunder, Sword and Shield. I must have one, yes. Neodignus White Bolt. I just had a moment of sort of immense confusion, because this is not a weapon from this game. This is a fucking 3 ultimate weapon. But of course, you can actually trade for Ivory Lagia Cruz materials, which is why I can make this weapon. I looked at that weapon name and I'm like, you don't belong here. Kind of a funny moment. I could alternatively use the Black Belt Sword. I think it's, yeah, it's here. But I'm not sure if I'm happy to use that same set from before. Let's just go with this. Let's go with the Ivory Lagia Cruz Sword and Shield. Speaking of that, I do need to increase the frequency of my 3 ultimate recordings. I do realize that the final date of something like April something 2024 has been given for 3 ultimate, and not just 3 ultimate, but all games on the Wii U and 3DS that connect to the internet. So, yeah, if I seem fairly disconnected, shall we say, after having mentioned connected to the internet, it was some attempt at a joke. The point is that I'm not emotionally invested in it, because so many years ago I thought that the servers were going to shut down for 3 Ultimate. There were so few people playing, I was quite assured that when World came out, And to be honest, even before World, I was expecting them to shut down soon, but at the very least, the release of World, I suspected was going to lead to the closure of the servers for 3 Ultimate. It didn't happen. That was in 2018. That was a while ago. So, you know, we're talking back in 2018 when I had resigned myself to the fact that the servers were going to shut down. And there were rumors about it too, so I've had a lot of opportunities to come to terms with the fact that the 3 Ultimate servers would be shutting down. It's 2023, and they're going to shut down in 2024. I'm not that upset about it. It is a shame, because it's going to take something away from me that is never going to come back. And that's a little unfortunate, but I will be able to experience online in 3 Ultimate. It's just not going to be in the same way. So, it's in the hands of the community by April 2024, and I look forward to see what they can do. But yeah. I do not need Rajang materials desperately right now. I'm not really in the mood. Rajang sort of bothers me. I don't mind him too much, but I hate his triple ball slam attack. Speaking of slam attacks, you can see what happened there. Basically, that follow-up, I could not see at all. There was none of that follow-up that I could see where he was gearing up for a tail slam. It took place on the other side of a fucking solid object that I sadly did not have the ability to see through. X-ray vision. That is not a skill that exists in Monster Hunter, not even in Frontier. Do I know that for sure? No, I don't, but I think it's a safe fucking guess that there is no such thing as X-ray vision in Frontier, so I don't mind having to, you know, deal with the possibility of needing to eat my words. I don't think I'm going to need to. That's the situation. Yeah, whatever. Get that shit away from me! You fucking bastard. You creature with dragon element. I'm not hunting with anyone from Hunsterverse at this time. I was trying to hunt with Deca, but he is the DC Hunter Master. He is disconnecting at a rate that I thought practically impossible. He will literally join the room for 2 seconds and then disconnect immediately. Ooh, no, I'm being spammed. Stop, shut up. Okay. Back to what I was saying. He will join and disconnect immediately, and will repeatedly join and repeatedly disconnect ad infinitum. So that guy is not really on the table right now. He's not a prospect for online interaction. Jesus, how the fuck am I supposed to deal with that? Did you guys see that, quite unlike Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, those orbs do not hang in the air for a period of time. They almost immediately start coming after you. I mean, I suppose you could say that they do hang in the air for a period of time. It's just a much shorter period of time than what you would expect to see, or indeed what you would see in 3 Ultimate. Which is okay, because this is not 3 Ultimate in actual fact. I have neglected to consume a Nullberry. Let me do that. He's gonna fucking hit me again. One of the beautiful aspects to an enraged Stygian Zenogre is that just by getting hit by that fucking monster, you will be afflicted with Dragon Blight, and yeah, it's fucking annoying. You can expect to get through quite a few Nullberries as you hunt him. An annoying monster, to be sure, but if you do bring a thunder weapon to the fight, as well as Nullberries, you will be handsomely rewarded with some pretty heavy damage, because he's very weak to thunder. His greatest enemy is in fact his ordinary form, his standard species. When they are in a room together, Stygian comes off second best. In a big way. Good flash bomb, thanks for that. Made my life a bit easier. The skills that I have, by the way: Critical God, Constitution +2, Honed Blade, Peak Performance. I'm not really making much use of Peak Performance here, so I mean, I'm the first to admit that. Peak performance with the Blade Master loadout is just stupid. It is so stupid. Anyone who defends peak performance with Blade Master, to be honest, can just get on their hands and knees and, like... Well, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but seriously. Peak performance means 100 health. You know, we're not talking about the viability of a heroics or adrenaline run with Blade Master, which... You know, there are arguments to be made on both sides. Like, is it viable? Is it worth that risk for a standard hunter? I mean, for someone who's going for, you know, the fastest possible run, sure, of course it is. But for someone who's just playing through the game, perhaps not casually, but even at the high end, is it worth inviting that risk as a Blade Master user? In my opinion, no. But peak performance is a different story. That requires complete 100 health. So, I mean, I don't know, it depends on the monster that you're fighting, I suppose, but a lot of monsters can deal just a tiny little bit of damage just by being in close proximity to you. It's the reality of the situation. So, I don't know. I think peak performance with the Blade Master is really stupid. With a gunner, amazing. Works very well, and it's actually a no-brainer. But for Blade Master, I'm not a supporter. Not at all. So, that's my position. I'll let you do all of your dragon element stuff. Can we just acknowledge the fact that this is one of two monsters that we're fighting right now? Why isn't this one dead? What's going on? Did I miss something? Is there some sort of inefficiency that I haven't clocked in this team? Am I the inefficiency? No, I just realized that we do have a hunting horn user, despite there only being 3 of us. Maybe that's one of the inefficiencies, but I am seeing attack up go out, so... Or at least I am now. I don't know if I saw that initially, but I recently noticed it. Yeah, Hossein has admitted that it might be him. I don't know. If you're playing attack up consistently, it's okay, but... Alright, let me get some Dust of Life out. I'm displeased with the number of nullberries I've had to consume, but if I'm not going to run out of them, then it's okay, I guess. But stop fucking summoning all of these things. It's awful. That's 12 of them in the space of about, what? 15 seconds? Oh yeah. Just racking up the numbers now. You dick. And our friend Hossein has died. To be honest, after an onslaught like that, I don't even blame you. that situation... Oh, I'm probably going to get hit. I fortunately did not, but shit. This has not been a good confrontation again. Do you know what's really changed here? So Stygian Zenogre from 3 Ultimate had 2 things going on that... Ooh, I just realized that I have really bad dragon resistance with this set. This was a bad fucking choice to use this set. That's why I got one shot. What's my dragon resistance? It's negative 35. Good god, that is so unacceptable. Negative 35 dragon res against a Stygian Zenogre. You've got to be having a laugh. Oh my god. Anyway, the reality of the situation is that 3 Ultimate Stygian Zenogre is easier in 2 ways. There might be more ways than what I'm about to describe, but there are 2 ways that immediately come to mind. The first is that the orbs hang in the air for longer in 3 Ultimate, which makes them easier to avoid. Second of all, the orbs... Well, how about 3 points? The orbs seem to move in a much... Holy shit! That failure pissed me off, actually. That one really pissed me off, because it did not have to be that much of a dismal failure. That was pathetic, and I will take you know, my share of the responsibility for that pathetic result. That was bad. I've not had such an embarrassing experience with a Stygian Zynoga with reduced health. That was one of 2 monsters. We saw no signs of weakness. We had been in the hunt for what seemed about 10 minutes and had a triple cart without even bringing him to limp. That was fucking bad. I will take responsibility for that. I mean, just to put it in perspective, Nagakuka in the chat says, after Hossein acknowledges that his choice of Hunting Horn was probably not good, responds with, Hunting Horn is pretty good on Zynoga though. Evidently not clocking the fact that Hossein was using a Dragon Hunting Horn on a Stygian Zynoga. That's not, I'm not like throwing Hossein under the bus there, I'm just making it pretty clear that Nagakuka is having a very special moment in the chat. He's having a very special moment. And hopefully now he's realised that that's what's happened. Anyway, that wasn't great. I feel like my choice of armor set was terrible as well, like really inappropriate. Jaska has left because he has low battery. That's something that you will see all the time with phone users. People who want to go on about phone supremacy, I don't want to hear it. Listen to me. I don't have to fucking put my desktop PC on charge every, let's say 2 hours because I'm gaming on it. Yes, Nagakuka, special in a good way, in a really good way. All right, let's do something fun. Of course, the irony, I mean, my little joke is these people can't hunt and charge their phone at the same time. But do you know what? If they did, their phone would fucking explode because every single one of them tell me that if they play the game, I don't know if you could hear that hum? I guess that low frequency thunder rumbling. That was really long. It's still going, actually. It's about a... Yeah, that full thunder rumble went for about 10 seconds. It's still going, actually, so that's 15, at least. That was solid. That was about a 15-second thunder rumble. Not that any of that would have been audible. Maybe a small amount. Can barely hear it, yeah. But, yeah, that was pretty cool. Anyway, the... What was I saying before that happened? That was something of a distraction. I'm sure I'll remember the point. One other thing that I was saying was that I'd like to do something fun. I might try to pick a quest that I haven't... yeah, a quest that I haven't done. Frenzy Diablos. No. I mean, we could. It wouldn't be terribly difficult. I could bring a cheesy set. Let's bring a cheesy set. Do you know what, Hossein? Keep with your insect glaive. It will work very nicely in conjunction with what I am fixing to use. It may look like a rapid normal bowgun set, but it is actually a rapid slicing bowgun set, which is a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. Something that you can't really... I mean, you can do it a little bit in Generations Ultimate, but they made slicing ammo internal ammunition only because of how effective it was in this game, so yeah, that's the reality. Basically, they gave slicing a motion value in 4th generation, whereas prior to that point it was set cutting damage, and it really sucked. It was barely enough to cut a tail. Usually it wasn't enough to cut a tail on its own. It was really just designed to assist the Blade Masters a little bit in cutting a tail. I suppose it was enough if you were accurate enough and if your gun was an appropriate level in relation to that of the monster, but slicing damage was really bad. I mean, if I'm saying that it didn't have a motion value before, which I believe to be the case, then I suppose it didn't actually align in any particular way to the damage of your garnet. I suppose it was just, as I say, set slicing damage. It was really bad, or set cutting damage. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But in this game, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. No, I'm not doing Frenzied Diablos with dual blades. Why would you suggest that? It's as if you're not watching the live stream. I would encourage you to start watching the live stream. Nagakuka. Alright. What do I need? So I've got... I don't have, but I now have huskberries. I will put away something that I don't need. What do I not need? Well, I've got the slicing shots that I need. I already have the whetstones. Okay, that's really all I'm going to worry about. That's all I'm going to worry about. I should have enough... Yeah, I'm doing rapid normal too once I run out of slicing, and that will be fine. That'll be sufficient. And more thunder. Very good. Give me the full fucking thunderstorm. That's what I want. Well, I don't want a cyclone. I don't want a cyclone, but do you know what? Something just shy of a cyclone would be a whole lot of fun. I'd enjoy that. I put away flash bombs because I realized that they didn't need to be there, but I'm not going to worry about filling that spot with anything else. Alright. Let's get whetstones. Oh yes. Oh goody. Now remember the stories that I've told you all about how in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate I actually do have the occasional experience where I will depart on a hunt without any whetstones. This is the reason why, I've told you guys before. It's awkward, but it does happen on occasion. It's because in all of the other games I don't have to worry about not having whetstones. But in this game, I do use them as combination materials for slicing shots. It's like getting ice-cold water poured on your erection, quite frankly. That's not a good analogy. That would actually increase the erection for some people. My point is that that was a bit of a killjoy. And, yeah. Let me know, Hossein, if you need me to rehub. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to ask. I'm going to rehub, and that way it will be an easier reconnection. There you go. Look at that. That was, seamless, I guess. About as seamless can be under such circumstances, so I'm glad you're back. Welcome back. What happened to the Diablos hunt? I don't really think you need me to clarify that. I don't know if you're asking me conversationally or if you genuinely couldn't work it out on your own. It's hard to tell. But if you couldn't work it out on your own, for the benefit of your understanding of the situation, Paul, in other words Hossein, in-game, disconnected. Alright. Do I have any nullberries at all? I do. I'm being very dramatic. I have 96 of them. Just because I couldn't see them immediately, I almost assumed that they didn't exist, but they do. So, there you go. Alright, let's go. Depart on quest. Alright, hopefully we don't get a disconnection this time. Hold on, did I abandon? No, I abandoned, so therefore I got my max potion back. Of course. Alright, that's good news. This has gone better than the last hunt, technically, even though things have only just begun, because we haven't had a disconnect, and I have actually eaten for the quest. So, that's a good start. Alright. So, I didn't actually check to see. Okay, Paul did continue using his insect glaive, which is good. I can see that... Oh, is it frenzied? Yeah. Oh, it's Apex. Christ. I'm glad I have my drive stone. Would have been better to have a different... would have been better to have the force stone, but that's... Fucking hell. I didn't realize it was Apex. I saw Outbreak and thought that it was... Oh, shit. I didn't know. I didn't realize. Oh my god. Well, I'm glad I've got my slicing set. Good god. I thought it was going to be frenzied. Not fucking Apex. Shit. Let's see what we can do. I think my slicing will be sufficient. I think. I wish that I had sonic bombs under these circumstances. I feel foolish. I really do. I don't know why I didn't realize that it was fucking Apex. Alright, slicing shots makes Apex a joke. How about that? Let's all admit it. Welcome to slicing shot. I mean, keep in mind, we're two-manning this thing. Oh, I'm sorry. If you fail your mount, it's my fault, and yeah, I'm sorry. That must have been very close. That must have been extremely close, and I'm really glad that's not how things turned out. Excellent work with the mount. Despite all of my terrible contributions, I'm sure that they contributed well in terms of damage, but in terms of running the risk of failing a mount, that was definitely a negative contribution. Alright. Now, you are going to see, for the most part, me regularly reloading. There are only certain circumstances in which it is worthwhile to use the evasion reload. That's if, you know, you're not getting out a lot of shots. And my point is that if you're getting out most of the shots that are loaded into your gun, it's just faster to reload. Like, don't be precious about it and start rolling just because you can. It can be more time efficient, even with the Seregios light bow gun, to just reload the damn thing. So don't get caught up in the gimmick is what I would advise. Oh, fine. One of the difficult things, I swear I did successfully roll that, and I'm quite sure that I did. It's just that was an extended hitbox of that tail there. One thing to consider, obviously, with using any sort of rapid light bow gun setup which involves the rapid firing of 5 consecutive shots, you have to be pretty careful with your choice of timing. Like, if you time it poorly, you are going to get hit. It's not going to be hard for that to happen. So, yeah, take care. Now, quite obviously, that circumstance, well, under those circumstances, it's going to be more time efficient for me to just reload all of those shots rather than roll around like a dickhead for 6 seconds and eventually get all of my shots back. I'm going to max potion that one because that was nasty. That amount of health that I had lost. Okay, so we don't have our drive stones back yet. I genuinely hope that he's not going to leave the area once we use our drive stones, but we'll find out. I also don't know if slicing requires the use of a drive stone. Genuinely don't know. I also don't like it when I use a drive stone and the monster fucking dives under. You little irritant. The fucking nerve of you to do that. Thank you for the heal. I just, like, I don't appreciate this Bloodbath Diablos fucking shit you've got going on, my friend. In terms of combo. Alright, I really need to position myself so that... Oh, dive it! I need to position myself so that I'm getting the weak point. Like the cutting weak point. That was really close. Nice work on the mount there. That was nicely done. Getting that weak point, that's very important. Getting out as much damage as I can with my drive stone. The reason, obviously, for recommending the use of insect glaive in conjunction with this loadout is the fact that this monster being, or any monster for that matter, getting mounted repeatedly means that I am going to have the ability to get all of these slicing shots out pretty reliably. So that's what we want. I didn't want to be stunned by the roar, because I wanted to be able to immediately start getting all of my damage out as soon as the monster was knocked down on the ground. And if I were affected by a roar in that moment, there would have been a risk of me not being able to start getting my shots out immediately. Is slicing working? No, not really. So, to describe what Drivestone does, for the benefit of Nagakuka, again, I don't know if it's conversational or if he genuinely doesn't know. We're just going to use it conversationally. Oh, fuck off with that tracking. Did you see that tracking? He was going in practically a totally different direction, and then does a perfect turn in my direction during his charge. What a bastard. Okay, so basically, one of the nasty aspects to monsters in this game is that you've got the Frenzy Virus. Now, the Frenzy Virus doesn't really change your gaming experience that much. Apex, on the other hand, which is the next level of the Frenzy Virus, it's still considered to be a virus, just the ultimate manifestation of the virus within a monster, is it becomes much stronger. So it's got, it deals more damage. I don't think it has more health, it just deals more damage as far as I'm aware. But it's in like a mode which can be broken out of. But to actually hit the monster reliably during that mode, you need to use what's called a Y-Stone, which actually sharpens your weapon for a limited amount of time, and will allow you to hit through the additional armor, like protective armor that the monster gets when it's in Apex mode. And the key is to try and align the effective period of the drive Y-Stone with the, limited... How do I describe it? So it's a damage threshold. You want to try and get all of that damage of your Drivestone out so that you can break that health threshold of the monster that's in Apex mode. And that can be really difficult. Genuinely difficult. What am I doing? Combine your slicing shots. I'm at 95% combination success rate. And that still worked fairly well. Let me give you some examples of a Drivestone situation that is very unfavorable. One is the monster leaving the area as soon as you use the Drivestone. Another is using your Drivestone and then dying, which means that you've basically lost the effective period of your Drivestone. It's really situational. Sometimes the use of your Y-Stone, the most important one being Drive, really nastily coincides with the events as they unfold in the quest. Alright, he just got knocked out of Apex, which is what we want. Like I said, it's a health threshold, and yeah. A fucking terrible gimmick. It is terrible. It is stupid, it was poorly thought out, and it adds nothing of real value to the gaming experience. It was just a gimmick, just a for you specific gimmick, which, to be honest, was unnecessary given that they went so far as to implement a guild quest system. I think that's quite enough of a gimmick for one game. I think they could have just left Apex on the back burner until Rise, which they did do, but it was better in that game because, and that's saying a lot, to be honest. To say that Apex was better in that game, I don't know. It was probably the only thing in that game that was done better than any previous game. And that's with the understanding that Apex in this game is just pathetic, just stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. The whole Y-Stone system can fuck off. If they eliminated the Y-Stone system, fine. If they just made it so that it was a much stronger monster until you reached a damage threshold, that would be fine with me. I wouldn't mind it that much. Would it be a gimmick still? Yes. But would it require the use of Y-Stones and then all the frustration that goes along with the use of Y-Stones? Like, at that point, if I didn't have to deal with that, it would be a much more palpable experience. What I'm saying is not something, it's not a grievance that I've developed in hindsight. It has always pissed me off, and I've actually only become increasingly displeased with the existence of Y-Stones and the conventions of Y-Stones, or rather the way in which they work, the more I have played other games. I hated it a lot when it came out because I'd obviously played a lot of games before for Ultimate. But then, as I continued to play more games, and continued to play Monster Hunter that wasn't for Ultimate, yeah, I became increasingly displeased with that system. And playing it now, I can tell you, I'm really annoyed. So I'm basically not able to deal damage to this monster until I have my Y-Stone recharge. Which is shit. Because the length of time that it took for us to break this monster out of its last Apex mode, to be honest, like, my drive stone was mostly up when that happened. And yet this guy has still returned to Apex mode before my drive stone had finished charging. So what the fuck is the deal with that? It's not even a system that works. The timing, like, those different timings just don't work in conjunction with one another in an effective way. It's just a broken shit system, which I'm sure people who just are infatuated with this game and are weak in the knees for all of its stupid gimmicks, I'm sure they sit there and say, oh, you're just not used to it, so you don't like it. No, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. It has to do with the fact that it was a shit implementation, and that it's shit enough that even though it's unique to this game, I can't put up with it quietly when I play this game. You know, it's not like underwater combat. I can go and play an underwater combat monster hunter and be like, well, you know what? It's only for these games, so that makes it more special. And even though it's not as comfortable to play underwater as it is on land, you know what? I can still put up with it. That is actually how I feel about underwater combat. But this shit, this sucks. Look, I've just run out of my drive stone and I can't even fucking hit the monster anymore. Neither of us can. So what are we gonna do? Like, for the rest of the time that it is in this mode, which can only be broken out of with a damage threshold, what are either of us going to do? It's stupid. Whoever thought of this was having a fever dream that would have been better off forgotten. Like, better to forget the dream than to make it a reality in one of these Monster Hunter games that, quite frankly, quite a few people hold dear to their hearts. I'm one of those people. I feel like this really has put a damper on what could have been an amazing game. The Guild Quest system and the Y-Stone Apex system ruined what could have been an amazing iteration in the series, and that is 4 Ultimate, and by extension Monster Hunter 4. So, what the fuck? Yeah, you can liken it to Fatalis Armor Mode, but imagine Fatalis Armor Mode, which requires an item to hit through the monster. Like, what the fuck? There are probably certain parts of the monster that aren't armored. Like, I can see the tip of the tail here isn't, which is nice, but yeah, you have to try to find the soft parts, and I guess I've always wondered if I can deal full damage without a drive stone. I guess you can. I guess it's possible, but this still is pretty miserable. Pretty miserable. Just have to wait for the fucking drive stone to recharge. And then, at this stage, would it even be wise to immediately use it once... Fuck. Would it even be wise to use it immediately once it recharges? Because what if he leaves the area? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a consideration that has to factor in. No, it's stressful on all of the fucking monsters, I can tell you. So maybe not literally all of them, but a good, healthy number of them. It's stressful. I know it looks stressful because it's Diablos and Diablos sucks, but no, it's bad, just in general. The system is shit. It doesn't really feel less shit when you fight a different monster. It just... yeah, this is just particularly bad, is really the way I would distinguish between a standard and Diablos experience with Apex monsters. We are having to endure what is quite frankly an unnecessarily miserable experience. We could have just fought a frenzied one and it would have been fine, but no. No, not a frenzied one. It had to be an apex one. That's my fault. I didn't realize it was apex. I forgot the telltale sign of an apex hunt. And this was it. Obviously, it's outbreak. I don't know what it looks like for a frenzied one, because I've forgotten. Because I thought it was outbreak. Apparently not. Maybe it's situational, I don't know. Alright, I got my mount with a fucking light bow gun. My message for when I mount a monster is help get me down from here. It tickled me at the time. What the fuck is going on? That message... I feel like something just happened there. It's like very suddenly there was a skip in what was going on. It coincided with the message that appeared on the screen. It caused like a skip, and that immediately fucked up my mount for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, we've got a capturable Diablos, which is nice. Let's get the rest of the damage out before he can get into Apex mode again. Oh, fuck, he's gonna get me. I'm glad that he paused before charging there. That was good of him to do. I had an Apsaros in the way. I was reading the chat. I didn't realize that an Apsaros was suddenly going to put himself between myself and the monster. Now, if I had known that I were in the same area... If I had known that I was in the same area as an Apsaros, I wouldn't have been surprised, but I didn't know it was there. Apsaros... I know a lot of people hate Bullfangos, but Apsaros is the worst small monster. The worst one. They are insufferable. They have too much health, and they just disrupt your hunt in the most frustrating ways. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, just die. You're even given the same sound effects and movements as a fucking Aptonoth. You don't even have your own animations. It's 4th generation, and they didn't even feel that it was worthwhile giving you your own unique animations. That's how worthless you are. That really is indicative in its own way of just how fucking pointless you are as a monster. Well, it does if they're excessively territorial, but there's clearly a predator in the area that's far more dangerous than we are. Or at the very least, having us and a predator as big as a fucking Diablos in the area should be enough to... Ooh, Zenith Wyvern Gem large is very helpful to have, by the way. Surely, under those circumstances, an Apsaros wouldn't continue to be aggressive, but no. That sort of logical consideration is irrelevant. Entirely irrelevant. Alright. Now. I don't know if it's worth trying to get another person to join us. I will ask around, okay? I will ask around, I will see if... What's going on? Alright, everyone's laughing at Deca in the Hunsterverse chat. I think it's important that I show you everyone what's going on here. Because that's worth seeing. Shut up! This guy. This is Nagakuka in the... You are... Anyway. Let's just cut him out, because he's not an authentic part to this chat. Yeah, so this is... Yeah, so basically... I keep lost connection. I say another time, and then I cry. With that face. And he walks away. You're the only one having issues again. And then everyone just laughs at him. That's a few unique people who just point and laugh at him for disconnecting. I mean, I do feel sorry for him, but there's a reason. There is a reason why every single person thinks it's funny. It's because of who he is. He is such a... He's a living meme. The way that he's communicating here is more than he would ever communicate in any other channel in Hunsterverse. Usually he just sends the same emote all the time, or the same message all the time, no matter what the situation is. He's just he's like a bot. He's like a meme bot. That's what he is. Anyway. Oops, I opened the wrong thing. I did not intend to open that. Go away. You're going to slow down my emulation if you open up. It's going to eat into my RAM, which shouldn't affect anything, but it does, because Citra can honestly gargle my balls. Alright. I'm going to ask if May wants to play. I may as well capture the chat. Well, there is a hunt. Well, I mean, comparatively speaking, May is stable. No, he's not as bad as Decker. Decker is just out of control. He's just not even capable of connecting to a room at this stage. He's not just disconnecting during hunts on a frequent basis, he literally can't even connect into a room, so... Florin's worse. Florin is about as bad as Decker at this point, because Florin literally cannot maintain a connection if there's more than 2 people in the room at any point. They don't even need to join the in-game hub. If they join the fucking Citra room, if anyone snipes the Citra room as a third hunter, which happens guaranteed every time, unless a password's put on the room, it's, yeah, an instant disconnect for him, so that's fucking miserable. Looks like we... Oh, look, what happened? What the fuck is going on? Both May and Decker made it in. They were the weak links. Those little pricks I was playing with before were the problem. There were 3 of them, 3 different people, and they were causing these guys to disconnect. Look, it's all happy again. We're a big happy family. Oh my god. We all made it. I'm so glad that we're all here together. We're all here. Like literally, it would be appropriate for me to say at this stage that the gang's all here. My first choice of ideal setup in terms of the people that I'd be playing with for this livestream, they are all here now. I didn't realize that Hossein was going to be a part of that, but it was at least going to be me, Decker, and May. And Hossein is a comfortable addition to that. So this is the ideal right here. Let's do some hunting. I'm not really fussed as to what... No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to ask to do... Rajang. What's your guild quest, Hossein? You said you had a double Rajang guild quest. But for Ghoulish Gold Goras, I do need Furious Rajang specifically, so I'm assuming you have a guild quest that is Furious Rajang, not just standard. Look at the fucking stability of this room. This gives me a tingling feeling in my nethers. Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were giving me your guild card. You just gave me the guild quest. That's very nice of you. I suppose I can at least inspect it. What have we got? A quest pool? No, go to quest pool, you... What button do I press to go to quest pool? Is it... Hello? Do I click it? I can't even click it. If it's the shoulder button, if it's like the equivalent of what would be R2, I don't have that mapped because it glitches the emulator out. I can't even check my quest pool. Well, thanks for sending it. Genuinely, I appreciate that, but I can't access the quest pool right now, okay? Oh no, manage. Oh, if I go to manage list, sorry. Fuck me. So it looks like. Well, I can't actually quite see. Can I check? No, don't check all. Can I inspect to see whether or not this is Furious Raja? Whatever. I can see that Decker is trying to rotate the quest. He probably assumes that I've officially done all G3 quests. How about that? It only took literally my entire time playing 4 Ultimate in my living history to finally complete all G3 hunts. I guess that makes this live stream somewhat significant. So do I have what I want? Probably not. I do not. Look. Annoyingly, it doesn't tell you if it's Furious Rajang or not. I think it just comes up as Rajang. Unless, do you know what I'll do? I will check the urgent quest to see if it mentions the name of the Raja. Because I think there's an urgent quest that includes Raja. Yeah. So, that's helpful, isn't it? So I get the pictures of the monsters, like the actual large monsters. And then, main monsters, we get Jaggy and Aptonoth in the list. What if I actually want the names written out? Seriously, sometimes I just want to take Capcom and I want to smack them in their incompetent minds. Or just like that. What? Oh, he's rotating pigs. I don't know why he's alternating between gathering quests and hunting quests, but he can do as he likes. I do appreciate that he's rotating. I probably should start doing that myself. What we're looking for is the single Furious Rajang quest. I might start doing the same thing. It's not really nice of me to not. Oh, he's got it. Fur fixation. I bet May had it the whole fucking time. I want to... Oh, May. That's such a May moment right there. That's exactly what he would do. Cause Decker to rotate repeatedly. But he had the quest the whole time. That's so annoying. Ugh. I'm not going to use this loadout for it. I'm going to use my really ugly heavy pierce loadout that I described to you all before. Let's go and equip it now. Hossein, can I just say that I'm really glad that you're joining me for this? Because I don't know if you and I have really hunted before in a live stream. If we have done, I don't remember it, and I don't know what game it would have been in, but I don't know. I just wasn't really expecting to be able to play with a viewer in this game. That was not on the cards for me, so really glad that you're here, to be honest. It's a pleasant surprise. Okay. My ugly heavy pierce set. Here it is. So, camera. That's what we want. In fact, this is the moment. The moment of all moments to switch to the big screen. Ooh, yeah. Isn't that the most endearing thing you've ever seen? Oh my god. I'm the fashionista. The trend setter. Alright, so this monster is going to get dropped faster than anything you've seen get dropped before. This is the dream team right here. I'm so ready right now. If you guys think I'm just being silly when I say that, no, you don't quite understand. You don't quite understand. You will when you watch this play out. When you watch what happens, you'll understand, but until the quest has been embarked upon, you're just going to have to take my word for it, and you probably won't. But don't worry. Actually, did I? I think I did fix my camera to ensure that yeah, no, the white balancing's fine. It's just my second monitor really sucks. The one that I'm connected to right now. The colours on that monitor are really bad. I look quite pale. May got immediately pinned. That's terrible luck. What if he dies? Does he have dung bombs on him? Poor guy. I bet he had the dung to survive that. God, he got immediately pinned at the beginning of the hunt. Holy shit, he needs support. Get him all the support he needs. Fucking hell. That's a really nasty beginning to the hunt. Unforgiving. Oh. Connection is not the cleanest, actually. A little bit worse than what I'm used to with these guys. Although I am used to hunting in a group of 3 with them, so... Oh, that was good that was cancelled. Happy to see that. Fortunately, I'm not getting terrain block. Fucking... so what I was hoping there was that my evade extender would suffice. Which is to say that I actually watched to see where Rajang was aiming that before I rolled. And I thought that I had the luxury of being able to wait and see where he was pointing it because of my evade extender, but actually the timing was not quite right. You can see that it's unforgiving enough for you to actually not have any time to determine where the fucking thing's going. You can just only pray that you've worked out that the twist in the body means that he's coming your way. What a fucking nasty monster. I'm really frustrated by that. Because that has affected the amazing hunt that I was sort of gearing everyone up to experience here. Okay, well, May has mounted it. I should get there in time to contribute. Excellent. Very good. Alright, so I do want the head broken. I do need ghoulish gold gorers. I'd probably be able to break the head on my own, but to be honest, if everyone's aiming for damage, then it should just happen anyway. It would require some considerable accuracy on my part to break both horns on my own, just because the amount of damage being dealt to him is considerable. He'd be more likely to die from everyone else's damage before I could actually break them on my own. Oh, see, I'm rolling there because you can see the fucking range of that attack of his is pretty nasty. Like, that's bad. Alright. I'm not going to really bank on... That was good. That was well done. So, I never would really push to flinch him out of that attack, because if you fail to flinch him out of it, it's really punishing, obviously. Like, you will be punished severely for failing to get him out of that attack. Even, I would say this is a pretty poorly executed hunt, generally speaking, but you can see that even having said that, the monster is having trouble. And there goes Decker, the DC hunter. There we go. I do feel sorry for him at this point. I genuinely feel sorry for him. But his name is Penis69, okay? So maybe that will curtail your feelings of empathetic sadness. There you go, he's dead. So, is it possible that Decker could solo? Yeah, I would advise him to try. If he soloed it, it'd probably be another 2 minutes, to be honest, so... yeah. Even with a terribly executed hunt, that was pretty easy, pretty quick. I don't know what to say. Look, Decker disconnecting during a hunt is not that unusual, but I was hoping that he'd last a few hunts before he disconnected, after what he's been through prior to this point. Oh well. At least we got the 4 Ultimate Dream Team together for a brief time. But I'm sure it's not over just yet. I'm sure that Decker will attempt to connect once more. And hopefully he'll stick around for another hunt. Decker's reaction is a laugh, so fine. It's always positive to be in good spirits about it rather than get upset. I'd be upset. This is the only game that Decker plays. He doesn't play the other games anymore. That's the funny thing, like as soon as... I think Decker at some point said, play for Ultimate, and I was like, oh. Actually, yeah, you do play for Ultimate, I forgot. And then I went and played with him, and he's ready to hunt at any time of the day. Well, he's in a very similar time zone to me. If I were not in a similar time zone to him, that would not be the case because he would be asleep. But we are in a similar time zone, and provided he is awake, he's ready to play for Ultimate, and I like that. It's just that he struggles to connect because he's a phone user and his internet probably sucks as well. So those two factors working in tandem sadly result in pretty inconsistent connectivity. I do want to do that again because I need one more ghoulish gold Goro to make the whatever it's called, Suzuka Takamaru or something like that. Honestly, the hide of this person, can I just show you what I'm talking about here? Some random fucking guy joins the room and is like, rehab. Who's this guy? Unless, oh, I understand. I can see that. It looks like, he's changed his name. I don't know why. Oh yeah, he must have changed his name. Surely. Because, yeah. Okay, good to know, he changed his name. I will rehub though. I'll let them know. I said I'll rehub for when Decker comes back. Yeah, it must be. He must have changed his name because if you look at the way in which the joining of that user coincides with Contol69, which again is Penis69, it coincides with him joining us. It has to be him. So I don't know why he changed his name from Citra68 or something like that, Citra98 or something like that, to whatever that strange, you know, random typing of letters is. I couldn't imagine it, but anyway, would have been a whole lot more helpful for him to be Decker or Contol69 or something like that. Yeah, I think Contol's more like a colloquial term, so it would be more appropriate to say it's like Dick69 or Cock69. That's fair enough. Here he is. The man of the hour. How long will he survive in the room? Let's see what he's got. Yeah, he's changed his fucking in-game or Citra name. I don't know why. Maybe that's part of his troubleshooting technique. I don't know. Good God. Try everything, I guess, including changing your name in Citra. I don't know. One more furious rara. And he's posted it again. It is as I suspected, he abandoned when he disconnected. Or either, well, it may also be that he totally lost connection in-game as well, so he reverted back to his previous session. So, fucking around with my speakers. Okay. I'll go back to single screen and get rid of this. Let's not keep that crap on the screen, good god. That's unsightly. Alright, I'll ask if May is coming back. I'm sure he is, but it's good to double check anyway. You don't want to be waiting forever. May is an interesting character. He's sort of, imagine a person with sort of the bare minimum of what is required for a human being to have a personality. That's sort of what he's like. I don't know, everyone's a little different. That's what he's like. But I enjoy the fact that I enjoy his company. I enjoy his frequent company in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. He plays well, and his very blunt style of communication can come across as pretentious, but he's actually just more akin to that of a robot than a human, so one shouldn't take it as pretentiousness. It's just him being blunt and, quite frankly, devoid of any real perceivable personality or perceptible personality. Yeah, he hunts well in general. He plays the game a lot. He plays Monster Hunter a whole lot more than I ever have done and ever will do. So, yeah. Well, to be honest, if you can... Look, cats are effective. I mean, it's sad in that he chooses to hunt with a cat, but... in Double Cross, but... I don't know. It is effective if you've got a good cat loadout. I just don't really like it. It's not how I like to play. I hate the terrain in this place. It's so annoying. I think we've got a trap going down. It is a shock trap. I'll try to line up with it. Oh god, that's a disconnect. Who's disconnected? As long as it's not me. It looks like it's just May. Okay, just May this time. And I'm pretty much the only person who can take advantage of that trap. That's really annoying. Let's go for our 3-man. It's going to be a little bit slower. If you recall, we were hunting with 4 people pretty much up to the end last time. So we'll just have to do the best we can. Fuck yeah, no. The best case scenario is to roll really close to the second impact zone, yet not get hit by it. That was the best case scenario right there. Because if you haven't effectively rolled towards the... So that's how you want to do it. You want to roll to... And that's what I just did. And yet it's still... Like, I have evade extender. And that still didn't work. I fucking hate that attack. That attack, there is actually... There's a way to evade it. I don't remember it anymore. I had a technique in the past. I don't remember it. It's stupid. It is so fucking unforgiving and unfair, in my opinion. I just don't know how to evade it now. It's been too long. Look, if I ever make complaints that really... are unbecoming of a person of my hunter rank in this game, it's because I have not consistently played this game in well over 5 years now. I'm sure I'll pick it up again, don't worry. Fuck's sake. But that attack, I just can't stand it. That attack is so not okay. I want to get those fucking horns off. No! Am I dead? I'm dead, aren't I? It happened because I jumped in that direction. I'm quite sure. Can we just... Did that seem like a legitimate death to you? I didn't really understand what I was doing in that moment. I thought I was rolling in a direction that was safe because I didn't think I was the target, but I suppose Evade Extender worked in the opposite way this time around. It actually rolled me in the direction of the damn thing so far that I managed to make contact with it, even though I was really not anticipating to be within the effective range of it. For fuck's sake! To say that I'm irate would only be telling half the story. I'm really fucking annoyed right now. So... particularly because I've died twice in short succession, and I don't have any real... Like, based on how I died on both occasions, I have no real confidence that it won't happen again, so... like... That sucks. It sucks to be in that situation. To feel like that could easily happen again. God. I hate this monster. I distinctly remember, like, back when I used to play this game frequently on 3DS, just not having any problem with this monster at all. But I suppose there's such a developed skill set when it comes to this fucking creature that to not have done it for this long, you just don't have it anymore, and it needs to be redeveloped. Well, it's unforgiving, isn't it? Can any of those deaths be described as unreasonable? Each one of them was a one-shot, and each one of them was... You know, it was very easy to get hit under those circumstances. Maybe the second one was just me bumbling in some way, but... Fucking hell, like, there is just no margin for error whatsoever. Survival is a roll of the dice. Fuck that. I suppose what's so frustrating is that just, even with Evade Extender, evading the movements of that monster is at times impossible. I'm really frustrated by that result. I probably should have checked to see if I had the quest before Deca went and rotated. I have it. Fuck me. I suppose what's especially frustrating is that I'm using the loadout that I used to use to be most comfortable and to be personally assured of the fact that I will survive, and yet I'm still dying, so I don't really know what the solution is at this point. If I'm still dying so easily, maybe it's the reaction time. Maybe my reaction time is slower now because I'm not used to the pace of the hunt. Maybe the pace of the hunt is so out of sync with what I'm used to now that I just need to try and realign myself with that. I need to realign myself with the pacing of the hunt and then get back on top. Let me just double check to see if May is still hunting. I will ask if May wants to try and reconnect. If he expresses some lack of willingness to bother, then I will depart with 3, but I'd like to have him here. The more damage I can get, the better at this point. I don't know. My experience personally is that... Oh, he's done? Okay. That must have been made clear in the chat of Citra. Let's have a look. What has he said? You guys continue. Got to go, thank you. Okay. Fair enough. What I've come to realize is that the games that I have not recently played have all been very difficult to come back to. And my first impression was that it was a reflection of the difficulty of the game. But I'm not... The last time that I had that experience where I came back to a game after a long time and it was way more difficult than I remembered was Monster Hunter Tri. And that made sense for there to be a progressively more difficult game. Or, I guess, a regressively less difficult game coming out of Tri and into, like, let's say, Portable Third or 3 Ultimate, etc. But coming back to 4 Ultimate, that felt really challenging. So I wonder if it's not, in fact, more to do with every single game has its own learning curve. And if you haven't played that game recently, it will tend to punish you more than you remembered it punishing you in the past. That's probably more likely to be what it is. Every game has its own learning curve, its own set of skill. Okay, each game has its own skill set that you need to develop in order to effectively hunt in it. And if you haven't played it recently, it'll feel more challenging. And that's how it's been for both Tri and for Ultimate. So, yeah. I don't know, I don't think I'm not struggling in any of the other games, really. Like, I will generally be able to play first generation Monster Hunter very comfortably, and that shit, you know, coming from playing 4 Ultimate very, very comfortably, I would go into first generation and actually be beaten within an inch of my life, figuratively speaking. But I play that stuff with actual comfort now. But now I come to 4 Ultimate, and I'm getting beaten within an inch of my life, figuratively speaking, so I don't really know what the situation is there. I guess I just need to... It's only because I haven't played 4 Ultimate recently. If I were playing all of these games consistently, at a high frequency, that would be a different story, but I've not recently played this game, so... But that is to change. That is going to change. Because I can now record it more comfortably. That is a fact. How many of these are you going to toss? This is unusual. This is not typical behavior, Raja. That was excessive and disruptive, actually, because I sort of have to wait for you to do your thing before I try to interfere. That attack is the scariest fucking attack. It used to scare me even in the past, it's just I was able to deal with it, but... Ugh, fuck that attack as well. That single ball slam attack from Freedom Unite, compared to that attack, is just... It's juvenile in comparison. There's just absolutely no risk involved. Ooh. Dangerous time to reload, actually. I don't like that. Yeah, I'm gonna sheath. Oh, good knockdown. Bad positioning. Bad targeting. Whatever you want to call it. The positioning was fine, I suppose. Just bad aim. Oh, go away. Go away. Not me. Not a max... No comment. I'm trying to support my team, and I'm using max potions instead of Dust of Life. And I'm really annoyed. Just bad hand-to-controller coordination. Just stay in one place so I can hit your fucking... Oh, yeah, hit your horns. Alright. Oh, terrible, terrible timing there for the paralysis. Really nasty. And unfortunate. Particularly unfortunate. No, you go away. I don't like it when you do that. That's a scary attack because what tends to happen is, even if I just clear it, I tend to get hit by Tremor. And standing close to a Rajang while being affected by Tremor is scary. You see what just happened with Paul there? Hossein? That was precisely what's scary about it. But he didn't have to suffer the negative consequences of what happened there because Rajang was flinched. Hossein was stuck there, being affected by Tremor. Close to a Rajang, obviously, because otherwise he wouldn't be affected by the Tremor if you weren't close. And then Rajang starts flailing his fucking arms around. I mean, that's bad shit. I don't like that. And I'm glad I was not in close proximity to the monster when that happened. We've got a limp, but we need to make sure that we break those horns, so I'll endeavour to do that. If I don't get both horns broken, let's let him sleep. I can't really communicate that to Decker though. Okay, yeah, stop. No! It looked like he was... Doesn't matter. We won't let him sleep then. Just make sure that the fucking horns get broken, man. That's the whole reason for this hunt. Decker's not listening, though. He's watched my live streams before, but I don't think he's watching now. His internet couldn't handle it, surely. I don't believe that for a second. So I will do whatever... Oh, he's getting in there and hitting the monster wherever he can, I think. I know he's going for the face now, but... Alright, I can't quite see if both horns are broken. I don't think they are. I'm really doing my best. If I get him in a pitfall trap, will that sufficiently communicate the fact that I'm going for damage rather than for anything else? I'm worried that tranks are going to go out if I drop a fucking trap. That's not what I'm going... Come on! I saw those attacks. None of them were on the head. None of them. Like, I don't mind it coming from someone who's not watching the live stream, but fuck. Whatever. My only frustration is that that was a wasted hunt. The only reason why we're doing this hunt is because I want to do it. And the only reason why I want to do it is because I need ghoulish gold Goros, and I'm not going to get them if only one horn's broken, if that makes sense. So, you know, I've done my level best to hit the horns under the circumstances, and the horns are not broken, so anyway. I don't think it's 0%, but it's extremely low. It's extremely low. If you have any experience with getting Rajang hard horns in the older games, it's what it is. It's extremely low. It could be a quest reward. I don't know. But I feel like the wound reward is a double horn break requirement. Yeah, I got nothing. So, yeah, breaking one horn is practically pointless. It's a waste of a hunt. It's like getting a Sky Piercer from... or a Sky Swayer, depending on the game, from an Elatrion with one horn broken. It's more like a double horn break. That's what the wound reward is, double horn break, not single. Single is irrelevant. Well, that was a nice wasted hunt, but maybe we'll do something different this time. Let's not be repetitive in our hunts. We'll keep it keep it varied and interesting. Is there anything you want, Hossein? If you have anything you want, please post it. I'm not too fussed. As long as it's not a level 140 guild quest, I'm not really that worried about it. But you know, there is something to be said for bad luck. My ability to play the game did not change from the last hunt to the one before it, or the one before the last hunt to the last hunt. You know, there was no change in my ability to play the game, but it looked as if I was able to handle the situation totally different. It's not that, it's that the hunt prior to the last one, I guess the circumstances aligned really unfavorably for me. And there was just no margin for error, like I was getting one shot. Which, to be honest, let's just check my equipment here. You know, I've got 2 armor pieces that are upgraded into the 20s in terms of level. And level 12, level 15, level 7 for the others. Like, my defense is 462. I think it's fine. Like, what's my... I've only got -6 thunder res, which isn't that bad. So yeah, it's just the way it is, really. So my 3 deaths there... Could I have played better? Perhaps, but I think I was also a victim of bad circumstances. So. No, 119's fine. That's reasonable. I think 119 is about the level that you get if someone gives you their level 140 quest. So when you give someone your guild quest, it will never be the same level. It'll always be several levels behind whatever you've given them. So I believe 140 when given to another hunter sits at around 118, 119. So yeah, I suspect that that's what you've got there. If it's not, then fine. Like if you've leveled that up yourself, then that's reasonable, but yeah, that was my first assumption. Gormagalam. How about we go Gunlands? If I've got an interesting Gunlance to use, then that's great. Otherwise, yeah, I don't have a fire Gunlance, so I suppose I will use Shimmering Tiamat, which is already equipped to this loadout. I do love this Gunlance. It is a favourite of mine in both 4 Ultimate and 3 Ultimate. I think Deck is just making sure that I want to do this quest. As far as he's concerned, you're like a random person who's just joined. See how he waited until I joined? It's not because he's subservient to me, it's just because he doesn't realise that you're part of the group. He thinks you're just literally a random person. So he was just making sure that I was happy to do that. All of this conversation has been taking place without his knowing of it happening. And he also doesn't know the details of it. So, yeah. I'm happy to see that sensitivity from Decker, you know. Like, I see people who just randomly join shit in other rooms. People that I would actually consider to be more switched on than he is, but I guess he chooses to interact stupidly online as like a joke or something. I can tell he's got a little bit of emotional intelligence, and he's switched on well enough to know how to hunt with courtesy online, which is more than I can say for a lot of people on Huntsterverse, to be honest. You know, head in the clouds, just stupid behaviour from people that I consider to be more switched on than he is, but now I realise that whatever metric I'm using to measure that is obviously not sufficiently based in reality. It's commendable when you consider what else is out there. We've seen it. I say we because I've recorded it. Those of you who watch me have seen it. And yeah, it's pretty constant. Actually, this is one of those rare live streams where streaming for a long period of time has actually been a bad thing for me. I've gone from 11 viewers to 4. That's really rare. Every single time that I've gone live prior to this point for a long time, I've only accumulated viewers, so I must have missed some sort of peak time. I don't know. Oh, I know what it is. Actually, no, I don't know what it is. I thought I did for a second, but I actually really don't. I'm very confused. Doesn't matter, I generally don't focus on viewers that much. But I guess I focus on it enough to make mention of that fact. I thought that was out of range. Fortunately, it was not. Very glad it was not. Hey. God, the damage. What's going on with this armor set? Actually, what are the skills? The skills are Artillery God, Honed Blade, Critical Eye +1, Speed Sharpening. Now, the question you might have is, why would you not use, or rather, it's sort of two questions, but the questions don't work that well on their own. You have to listen to both questions and then almost fuse them into one. Why don't you use your Impact Charge Blade set as your Gun Lance set? And then also, why... Oh, I forgot the other aspect to it. Let me just explain to you why that set doesn't work. That set doesn't have anything that relates to sharpening skills. Except for... Well, maybe it has Sharpness +1. No, it has... No, so there's Honed Blade... Let me double check that. I'm going to look at my Charge Blade set. Because you see, I don't have any Garn skills on this set. Which may actually prompt me. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's always good to reevaluate your own position. I've just reevaluated it. Now that I see that my Gun Lance set in this game has no Garn skills whatsoever, I think I'm going to have to update it. Because this is too close to my Charge Blade set, because I just realized, like my Impact Charge Blade set, because I just realized that I have Honed Blade and Critical God on my Impact Charge Blade set, and you see Honed Blade includes Sharpness +1, which is a sharpness skill. It's very important with the Gun Lance to have some kind of sharpness skill, whether it be Razor Sharp, Speed Sharpening, or Sharpness +1. Ideally more than one of those two that I've mentioned. In this case, I have Sharpness +1 and Speed Sharpening. But you see, it's so similar to my Impact Charge Blade set that at this stage, I don't really understand why I would need a separate set. I mean, I made this one long before I made that Impact Charge Blade set, so I'm somewhat forgiven for not realizing that I was almost making the same set twice. But that's something important for me to consider. I will try to remember to do that. Why did you go up there? It's as if he made a mistake. I don't think Gore Magala intended to go up there. It's quite funny. No, so, as I say, it's good to reevaluate these things, and I've been experiencing this a lot with older characters. So my old Tri character from 2012, for example, and my 4 Ultimate character here from about 2 years after that. I said 4 Ultimate, right? Yeah, my 4 Ultimate from about 2 years after that is, to be honest, a similar sort of experience. I'm seeing a lot of ways to improve, a lot of sets that I would do a little differently. It's just a more intimate understanding of how all the skills work. Which is funny because I don't feel as if my understanding has changed. I don't feel like I have a different skill set. But there's no other explanation for the fact that I can make better sets now than I did back then. Like, I will literally just come in here and go, well, I can improve that, and I will improve it. with no effort whatsoever. And so what that means is that I must be able to make better sets now than I could back then. Even though I feel like I'm working with the same skill set. But, you know, sometimes you just can't ignore the evidence. Evidence of an improvement of understanding, or of an increased understanding, probably can't be ignored. Even if your own personal experience suggests different. You know, like just because you felt knowledgeable back then doesn't mean that you haven't gained knowledge, I suppose. So, yeah, it's good to have a way of measuring that. And one way of measuring that is seeing the sets that you made in 2014, 2015, etc., and then comparing it to today. Like, that was a while ago. It's not like the sets were shit, it's just that I can really effortlessly improve upon them now. Oh, I think they went in that direction. Well, particularly Decker. I'm glad Decker's not disconnecting. I don't care if I've jinxed it by saying that, but, yeah. He's doing alright. It's probably because there's only 3 of us, to be honest. Which would probably account for most of the other disconnects as well. Go Magala Shredder. Yes, indeed. Go to Magara. I might go back and do a bit of mining. In the same way that Hussein was. Here we go. I'm not used to mining from a node that looks like this. Well, this is a good node. Few Seymour times 2. Now, is that something that existed in Double Cross / Generations Ultimate? I shouldn't say that. I should say Generations / Generations Ultimate. There's no reason for me to clarify what I mean when I say double cross. And there's more value in referring to literally 2 different games than referring to the same game twice but with different names. So, this is probably just a result of my general confusion from having played, you know, mostly Generations Ultimate, but now coming into this game, being familiar with seeing, you know, ×2 results from mining nodes. But now I sit here and I'm not too sure if I saw that in Generations Ultimate or not. And that's all good, Hosing. Things don't move that quickly in this room. They move quick, but not that quick. You're allowed to get a glass of water. Yeah, I'm actually not too sure if that's something that exists in that game. I'm sure it does, but I can't say for sure. Let me rephrase that. I'm fairly convinced that it's very likely, but I don't know for certain. There we go. That's better phrasing. Less contradictory. Hello, Mr. Broadcaster! Exclaims Nagakuka in the chat. It's not like you haven't been here before. You've been in this very live stream before, so there's no need to greet me with such gay alacrity. I can't even speak. What should we do? Should we do another Hossein hunt, or shall I post something? Yes, I did mean happy, yes. The now rather anachronistic use of the term gay. I keep going to say queer in the same way, but then I do stop myself because it makes me shudder now, which is a shame. It's probably my own personal biases. But, do you know what? That is an excellent suggestion. Darren Moran, That's an excellent suggestion. I've not fought a Darren Moran recently. Yeah, gay is not... particularly not these days. I'd say gay being used to... Look, I generally have a more archaic way in which I use English. I don't think the word gay to mean happy or joyful is considered archaic English anymore. Or rather, even now. I should say even now. So I don't think even now is considered archaic. Archaic, when it comes to language conventions, means literally no longer in use. No longer an accepted use of the word. But it still exists as a definition, whether it be in dictionaries or online references, because there may still be written works that use those words, so it is useful to have definitions for those words. So strictly speaking, you shouldn't use words with their archaic definitions, but I don't think that gay to mean happy has as yet been defined as archaic. I hope not, because I've always used gay in that way, and look, I have a distinct recollection, I think it was in 2007, being told what queer means from an American friend to mean, you know, well, it was derogatory, we'll put it that way. And my understanding of the word was that it was just unusual. And not even to describe a person, just to say, well, that's a rather queer disposition, or that's a queer aspect to that scenario. You know, just literally a synonym of strange or unusual. But that word queer has gone from derogatory back then to something that literally people say, yeah, I'm queer. So at this point, the word has changed so much to even what was different back then that I don't even want to use it. I keep away from it. It's just... But yeah, that is a word that has just gone through a bit of a metamorphosis. A sad, very forced metamorphosis. It's been, I would say it's been fucking sadly misused. You know, stop changing definitions, create new words, be a little more creative, please. Stop ruining the language for people like me. Now, Darren Moran, where is the quest? I went through that big fucking list and couldn't find... Desert Strike, let's do Desert Strike. That sounds like some sort of military operation in the Afghani desert. Desert Strike. I guess I'm thinking of Desert Storm, but yeah, Desert Strike gives me the same thought, same feeling. Let me consider what is most enjoyable to use. I guess a greatsword. You have to use greatsword, don't you? If I'm making a bold return to Darren Moran, who is a monster that I enjoy very much, I should use whatever is most elementally effective and also what works naturally with the monster, and I would say greatsword is one of those things. Let me find what I need. Yeah, right. Really? Amatsu Magatsuchi armor in this game? I had forgotten that there was a Matsu. Yamatsukami, not Amatsu Magatsuchi, for fuck's sake. Yes, the reason why I said that was because I saw Raymond, and the same terminology is used in reference to Amatsu armor. Sorry, I'm rather confused. Here you go. Robe, Raymond, whatever. But Raymond, or at the very least that sort of terminology, has been used for Amatsu armor. But Yamatsukami is what I meant to say. Here we go. Okay, let's go Dragon. Apparently thunder is a good weakness. but I don't really want to go with Thunder. I suppose they've replaced the secondary weakness of Ice from Gemaran with Thunder for this monster, so I'll just assume that Dragon is the ideal. And I'll go with high-grade earplugs and Black Fatalis Blade with my Rainbow Cloak. We could also say Yamatsukami. No, that's actually... That's your... oh, yeah, no. You actually blew my mind with what you just typed there, Nagaku. Ka. And I'm not going to comment on that further. Alright. Desert Strike. Let's fight Darren Moran. I don't think I need his materials. But, I do want to experience the hunt. I think Darren Moran is immune to poison. I believe all statuses will not affect Darren Moran, which obviously includes poison, but you would expect sleep and paralysis to be the ones that are most obviously cancelled out. But I've never seen a poisoned Jen or Darren, so I'd say that is safe to assume. But I have to do that. It's because your name is Nagakuga, but you've used a Q instead of a G, and so I have to put emphasis on the Q, because otherwise those who listen to me refer to you by name will sort of become confused and assume that I mean Nagakuga. But if I put sufficient emphasis on the Q that actually is in your name, they will understand, oh, this is a person who has chosen to name themselves something that is quite closely reminiscent to that of Nagakuga, but is in fact spelled differently. It's because this is verbal. They are not seeing your name written. Thank you, Yamatori. Yeah, changing your poison greatsword is probably a good idea. Blizzard. Oh, those are relic Blizzarios. I'm glad. I was about to say, no, this is not Jen. He's not weak to ice. But that's relic. That's actually blast damage. Fine. Is that even G rank damage? 294? 160 blast? Yeah, you can upgrade a rarity 7 relic to be G rank damage, but I don't know if that's G rank damage. I'm not that concerned. I guess it's more that it's only 3 of us, but I'm sure he's using something good. What's he? Ice damage? No, he's not weak to ice. Deckard, it's not Jen. I should let him know. I'll tell him. Let me just double check. I want to make sure. I don't want to misinform anyone here. I'm going to check the... If I appear more pallid, it's because I've opened up File Explorer in Windows, which is white, okay? So that's why I look the way I do. So I'm going to open the Monster Hunter 4U Dex, which is actually the 4G Dex, and I'm going to check the elemental weaknesses of Darren Moran. If it is as the armor within the game suggests, he's not weak to ice, he's weak to dragon and then thunder. Yeah, that's what's going on. I'll let Decker know. What? He checked weaknesses within Hunsterverse. What's going on? Look at this. Finally, no DC. Checked the weaknesses for Darren, and then he ended up with a tertiary weakness, not a primary or a secondary. I mean, he's got plenty of weapons to choose from. And yet he's chosen a really poor tertiary weakness. An appropriate reaction. Yeah, I mean, I know him. I know he's got weapons to choose from. There's no need for him to use a nice weapon. I mean, what? Cheater! Cheater! I watched it. I fucking watched it happen before my very eyes. He can access his fucking equipment box from here. Bastard. Did you see that? Oh my god. What the fuck? What a cheater. Did any of you guys see that? I watched him switch weapons while standing here, for fuck's sake. I mean, I get it, but I didn't even know there was such a cheat. Or such a mod to the game. Oh my god. Whatever. It saved us time. The less time I spend drawing attention to the fact that he did that, the more I can reap the benefits of the fact that he tried to save time. So, there you go. No, he did not disconnect so hard that it looked like that. For fuck's sake. Alright, let's skip this cutscene. Let's get into this quest as soon as possible. I don't want anyone to disconnect. I bet Decker just opened like a fucking Call of Duty mod menu and just like equipped that weapon. I bet it's not even his weapon. I bet he didn't even forge it. Conspiracy theory. Fucking hell. Keep away from these Deluxe. Oh my god. I hope I didn't hit anyone with that. He's on that side. To be honest, I have not fought Durham Moran in so long that I barely remember how to fight him. I do remember how to hit him when I'm on his back, but as for how he interacts with the boat, I do not remember. This is... for anyone who's used to seeing Jen, is just different. See this? It's different. Okay, so... this is the... oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know if I had critical draw, but if I did, then I didn't get it off. There's a few breaks that you can get here. So you've got this big, chunky, fleshy part, and that will break. And then you've got this here, but this part can only break at certain stages of the fight. So we can hit that now, for instance. But it's not going to break until he's on the other side of the boat, I'm pretty sure. When it does break, it will actually open a pathway to his horn. And that's always nice. But yeah, I'm personally convinced that this part of his head cannot actually break until you get further along in the quest. I am doing some pretty legendary draw slashes right now. Making use of critical draw, which I do actually have on this set. I had not checked. In typical Gen fashion, I'm standing on the side of the monster that is not going towards the boat. You think he looks better than Gemmaran? I don't know. I think he looks so different that it's not acceptable to say that he's better or worse. He's just very different. He's more... what I like about it is that he's born from the same concept. Let's take a dragon that looks as if he's made from stone and that lives in the sand. They took that same concept and came up with something very different visually, but he still looks like he's made of stone, like some kind of earth dragon. Is he trying to throw me off? I can't even tell. I don't even remember how this fight works. Not anymore. I know that I'm doing the right thing. The speed with which I can actually do this is quite funny. I don't even need quick sheath, quite frankly. See that? It's just because the animations are so sharp in this game that I can just fucking get out these critical draw slashes at level 3 charge in minimal time. Alright, I think... No, he's not throwing me off, he's charging the boat. What's he doing? Hello? I don't know where you're going, but you're turning in a strange direction. He's charging the boat head on. Where? I'm going for a bit of a ride right now. I don't know where is he leaving? I know he's facing the boat now. I feel like I'm going along for a bit of a ride and I'm concerned. Look at him go. What's happening? Oh, I think he just took out the boat. Or made some attempt to annihilate it. And I was just along for the ride. Well, it's not that hard to be better than Zora Magdaros. Yes, I don't think it is controversial in any way to suggest that this is a better fight than Zora Magdaros, so go ahead and say that. I'm quite happy to say that I stayed on the back of that fucking Darren until he went into the sand, which I think is the better way to do it. Now, I want to show him coming out of the sand. Can I... Yes, watch him come out of the sand. The way he twists. I love the way he twists. His theme, where he's like a drill, that is the best thing about Dara Moran, to be honest. The way he really spins. See that shit? The way he spins when he does his dive over the boat, and the way that he spins when he comes out of the fucking sand. That is what is cool about this monster. They make him like this giant earth drill monster. And the way he charges the boat head on with a turning animation, I think that's so cool. I think he is very cool, the way that he is done. I mean, look at that design. Yeah, seeing it for the first time in a really long time, he is very cool. Do you know what? I'm going to confess this. Dara Moran is what made me actually take the plunge and get for Ultimate. Which entailed purchasing a new 3DS XL. Which was brand new at the time. And... yeah, I saw the Dara Moran fight. I mean, I had seen the Gogmazios fight. I'd seen the Dara Madura fight. I'd seen all of it. But do you know what? I saw that Dara Madura fight, and I'm a huge Jen Moran guy. I love Jen Moran. When I saw this new version of Jen Moran, I just said, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. It was because I didn't want to play this game on 3DS. It was the 3DS. It's not like I had a problem with the next generation of Monster Hunter. It wasn't that. It was the fucking 3DS that made me so hesitant to go for it. And I did it. I saw this monster and I said, I've got to do it. Okay, so if we attack the back of the head now, it should break. The center part... Oop, I almost rolled off. Oh, whatever. We'll have another opportunity to get on. But yes, we will be able to actually break our way past that head and then get to the big pointy part of the head. I don't know. Can you call it a tusk at that point? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you can still aim for the arm. And then you can get on the arm, as I recall. He's giving us that opportunity now, I think. Or is he not? No, he's not. I do know that you can get on his arm. I know that he gives you that chance. You have those silly little red markers appearing on the screen when you can actually... There you go. Stop hitting it. I want to get on it. I want to get up there. Now, you can see... Ah ha ha ha. So this fucking thing is something that he will actually launch at the boat. He will use it to destroy the Dragonator. If you don't destroy it fast enough, he'll actually fire that thing out the back of his head and destroy the Dragonator with him. which is pretty cool. We just destroyed it before he could fire out the back of his... I don't even know what to call it. I guess the back of his head, and it's a weird tusk that looks like a Gemoran tusk. And yeah, he didn't get the chance to fire it. Now that we've broken that, we can attack another soft part on the back of his head, which will break. It is just a matter of time. Oh no. I'm in solo now. It's my turn to fucking disconnect. Do you think I can do it on my own? Do you think I can do it on my own? I don't think I can. God. I'll just go until I break this part of the head so that I can demonstrate it, you know? That's so disappointing. So that's the head break. It looks like that. You've got parts of the monster you can mine just here like that. Darren Stone, whatever else. I'm not going to continue because I don't trust that I can solo him all the way. This is G rank. I don't want to solo him for the next 30 minutes. Don't know about you guys. I don't want to see that. I don't think you want to see that. So I'm going to abandon. I'm sorry to do that, but it's too early on for me to be disconnecting like that. You know, if this were 15 minutes in, I would solo it. But it's not 15 minutes in, so... Unfortunate. That was a premature end to that hunt. I regret to say that I don't really want to continue. I've gone for long enough. I started this live stream some time ago, but there is going to be a lot of editing. Expect a lot of editing. You're going to see me cutting through a few hunts here. I'm going to try and have the VOD have minimal downtime. And, yeah. Well, I'm glad that everyone who was present was able to be here. This is for Ultimate, and do you know what? It's not going to be a novelty for much longer. I'm going to try and record for Ultimate more often, because I feel a little bit more comfortable in the number of people playing it these days versus how things were in the past. And I feel like I have been able to figure out how to record it largely reliably. So that also helps. I do thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time I'm recording this game. And I bid you all farewell for now. Bye bye.